Hi, my name is Shawn Kelly, and this is my real story. You know, I grew up in the Shenandoah Valley, Virginia. It's beautiful. I was pretty much raised like an only child. My brother's my half-brother. He's 11 years younger than me. It's my dad's second marriage. I was born in New York. My mom and my dad had trouble from the very beginning in their marriage. I lived with my grandmother when I was a baby. Then my dad got transferred to Buffalo, New York, and then to Waynesboro, Virginia, which is where he then tried to reconcile my mom, and we moved to Virginia when I was just a little kid. They had a horrible marriage. This is the early 60s. It wasn't a real big theme in neighborhoods to see divorced people. In my whole neighborhood, pretty much in my whole school, I was the only kid who had divorced parents. My dad left my mom when I was 6. It was actually easier for me because they fought a lot. They fought all the time. They had violent fights. My dad was a big guy. He's kind of rough. He worked a lot. I really didn't see him that much anyway. I was kind of glad he was gone. I remember feeling relief because there wasn't that pressure. And then there was this whole dramatastic part of my life where my dad and my mom would still see each other, and he would come and visit. And then my mom would be really sad when he would leave. And I hated that. By the time I was 10, I had a pretty healthy resentment for my father. I really didn't care if he came around. My grandmother she always was doing odd jobs, and one of the things she did was she cleaned the church, cleaned the Free Methodist Church. So I would help her clean the Free Methodist Church. I liked doing that. I did it from the time I was 7 or 8 years old up to I graduated from high school. We all would go on Saturday, my mom, grandmother, myself, we would all go do it. We didn't go to church anywhere. It wasn't an unchristian home, but it wasn't a Christian home either. We didn't go to church, we didn't talk about God, we didn't read the Bible. I didn't go to Sunday school. Like the scenario you see lots of places in the world. Really good people who work hard and have good ethics. You know, they raised me strictly. This is the era of children are seen, not heard kind of thing. I was very super polite. Everybody always liked me, how polite I was. Those kind of things. But you know, it's because of the upbringing I had. So in that way, it's a really good upbringing. I've often told my parents, both my parents, thank you for teaching me how to work, give me a good work ethic, how to be polite to people in public. You say yes sir, yes ma'am, how to carry myself. Those things are all real good. That came from that generation of people. I had the most amazing thing happen to me when I was 12 years old. A man by the name of Dave Stout and his wife Mary moved to town to become the Free Methodist preachers where we clean church. They started developing a relationship with my mother. When I was 14, my mom almost died. She was in the hospital for months. She had ulcerative colitis, and she lost her whole large intestine. And she had an ileostomy. It about killed her. And I went and lived with Dave and Mary Stout. Their son, Donnie, he and I were the same age. And then they had another son, Carl. So I was an only child, being raised by a woman and a grandmother. Not what I would call ideal. Then all of a sudden, my whole life changed. They taught me how to work on things. They encouraged me to get involved in athletics. They did all kinds of stuff for me and with me. I learned as an adult that Dave had seen me one time riding my bicycle down the street. He wanted to leave. He was part of the Maryland-Virginia Conference for Free Methodist Church. He wanted to leave and go preach in Maryland, which he did years later. And he saw me riding my bicycle down the street, and he felt like God said to him, you need to stay, because if you leave, this boy's going to be lost. And I never knew that as a child. I never heard that story. I didn't hear that story until I was an adult. So he was instrumental in my life. I called him my father for years. Made my own dad kind of jealous. And I believe that was God's hand on my life at an early age. I graduated from high school, and I went to a Free Methodist camp for the summer, and I accepted Christ. Then I went right to college. I went to Roberts Wesleyan College in Rochester, New York, and it ruined me. I immediately discovered girls, alcohol, weed. I ran cross country, but then I just stopped. I was more interested in hanging out. I just was rebellious against authority systems. I would see that theme over and over and over and over again. No father figure, doesn't matter if it's male or female. rebellion enters in. Rebellion against authority systems, challenging of authority systems. So during the summer I stayed. I didn't go back to Virginia. I got kicked out of that college for drinking. I was really doing poorly, and so this girl that I had met, her name was Janice, she introduced me to these friends who ran a halfway house. And so from the time I was 19 till I was 21, I lived on and off in what was called Jerusalem Lighthouse Ministries, is what it was called. Tried to live this nominal Christian life, but I was partying the whole time, smoked a lot of weed, and still drank, and still having premarital sex, and it was kind of lip service to God. And then I would tell the guards that I was doing okay, and then it really wasn't. I had a string of different jobs by my own choice. This girl that I had met, Janice, we'd be on again, off again, on again, off again. She was a strong Christian. Flip-flopping back and forth. I went back to Virginia, ended up becoming a manager of a restaurant, still partying a lot. I think really my main identity was in working hard. I was super successful. Whatever I put my hand to, I had success over and over and over again. I liked making money. Then Janice kind of upset my apple cart. She moved to Virginia when I was 23 years old. She moved to Charlottesville, where I was living. We started hanging out and dating. I made a commitment to her that I would stop, partying, and I would marry her. So when I was 24 years old, I got married to Janice. I made a commitment to her father. I'd go to school. But it had to be contingent on Janice finding a job, because she was going to help put me through school. So Fort Wayne Bible College is where I ended up going. Was still partying up to the time I left. I got a job working for a group home right away. I went and got a bachelor's degree, got a master's degree. During that whole time period, I was pretty squeaky clean. I started having trouble in my marriage after my master's degree, after my daughter was born. I have two sons and a daughter. Not having a father around, it just builds something in a guy. Resentment, anger, frustration. There's no role modeling about how to be a good husband. You're just kind of winging it. And I think the result was I was ruining my marriage. I wasn't really there. And when you get your identity from doing well at what you do, and you get accolades from doing those things well, and lots of pats on the back, and you make more money, and you see results, makes you want to do it more. So pretty soon, I found myself head of a huge organization in the state of Indiana. And for me, it was the pinnacle. And I got divorced. And, I was having an affair, period. That's why I got divorced. I was living kind of a half-Christian life during those years. It was about me and my success. And I think when I was young, I really gave God the glory. When I was first running the group home and working with those boys and with those girls, I prayed with those boys and I prayed with those girls. And I really gave God the glory. And then I started wandering away, and I became more educated, and I started wandering more and more and more and more away. I'm not really following God. In 92 we separated, 95 we separated, 98 we got divorced. We'd gone through counseling, but all the counseling in the world won't fix a wandering heart, a wandering eye, a person who's wandering away from God, who's rebelling against God. So you see that early onset of rebelling against parents, rebelling against dad, not having a dad around, not understanding what that is. It leads to this lifelong rebellion against God the Father. It's just running from God. Started drinking again, started partying with people every now and then. It's all secret for the most part. If I was going to smoke weed, it would be secretly done. Then I had an affair, and I was open with my wife, Janice, about the affair. At the pinnacle of my career, from what I have a master's degree in social work, what I thought I would be in charge of a huge foster care agency, I was failing in all kinds of other ways. So of course I just worked all the time. I wrecked my kids, something that I've never really gotten over. I wrecked my oldest son, just wrecked him. And he's not following God now, and I see, you see those results for the rest of your life, potentially. And you can come back to God, and you can restore your life in so many ways. But those results, those consequences from those choices you make, they're horrible. They're still with you. In my overeducated state, and in being what I was growing to be a liberal social worker, I started following Eastern religion. They're called channeling information. It was really in vogue, and I ate that stuff up. And I was equating it with, I'm part with the Bible, because it was hidden knowledge to me. It was very powerful in my life. It was like a pseudo-religion. I put it alongside the Bible, found myself wandering more and more into other territory and away from the Bible. Soon I wasn't going to church, wasn't reading my Bible, wasn't praying to God. I'm a big shot social worker, people want me. I'm getting $100 an hour to go do a day training. I was completely following what I call pagan practices. I got involved in Wicca, started going to the Unitarian, Universalist church. I got married to this person I had an affair with. She was also a social worker. And then things started unraveling. She lost her job. She started changing. In 2006, my life changed forever. It was today. Today's my 11th anniversary of finding her with somebody else and shooting that guy. Here I am, smartest guy around, super successful. And I was in jail 11 years ago today. I was in Allen County Jail, looking at 3 to 5 years in prison. That's what the charges were going to bring me. And I was scared. And I didn't know God. And, I wrecked my own life. What can I say? There is no way to say it.